This is That's Another Story Told, the podcast. The author, the narrator, the short story. Together they dance in your ears. Colourful World by Emmett Wright. Read by Ian Pringle. Once upon a time, a baby boy was born. When he entered this world, there was a little moment of silence. Everybody was scared that something was wrong, because babies were supposed to be loud when they were born. That moment felt like an eternity. But fortunately, it came quickly to an end. Blake made his first loud scream, and everybody smiled. This was probably the only time people were happy to hear him scream. Nurses cleaned him up a bit, checked if he was all right, and slowly placed the little guy into his mother's arms. His head was so tiny that it could fit into your palm. His hair was dark, and he was all crinkly, like a bulldog puppy. His eyes were closed, as if he was not ready to glimpse at this world. Mummy couldn't stop smiling. She was exhausted, but the happiest she'd ever been. She'd always been beautiful, but now she was the queen of the world. His world. Nero, her husband, was anxiously waiting in the hospital to hear from the doctor. The waiting room was almost empty. The walls were white, like the moon, and the chairs were light grey. The floor was so clean that you could see your reflection in it. It was 2 a.m. Nero was tired, but his anxiety and excitement had kept him awake. He was switching between staring into the floor and staring into the wall and window. The stare out the window didn't help much, as it was pitch black. The white wall was more soothing and more hopeful. White is innocent, just like a child when it's born. Brand new beginnings. Hope. When the doctor finally came to give him the news, a gigantic weight was lifted from his shoulders. He was so happy that he even hugged the doctor, even though he didn't normally like to hug strangers. The guy who helped his son get to this world deserved to be more than a stranger. "Mr. Pencil, congratulations, you have a son. Your wife is okay, but she gave us a big scare," said the doctor to Nero. He continued telling him how his wife struggled for life during the delivery. They were scared she would not make it. The delivery was taking hours, she was exhausted, and the pressure during pushing had caused her to faint for a short moment. They needed to do an emergency C-section. Nero had a worried look on his face. The doctor had assured him that his wife was okay now. He was allowed to visit her, but he was told she needed to rest. He was allowed to see his son, Blake. The triangle was closed. The family was complete. Gray, Nero, Blake. They were the Pencils family. Nero was the CEO of his own company, the Silver Lining Pencils. He invented the pencil, and it was named after him. The first product that was put on the market was a black pencil. It was called the Nero line. The business was slow at the beginning, but he never gave up. Every greatness starts as a small dream. He developed his business from selling a few pieces to selling hundreds and later thousands of Nero lines. When he met Gray, he was just thinking of starting his own company. They didn't have much money back then. She believed in him and supported him. She loved him for who he was, a kind, sensitive, gentle, responsible, loving man. He had the biggest heart, and she was able to fit right in. They were very close. They both had their own hobbies and friends, but always made time for each other. One day, Nero came to Gray and told her all about his dream. She was the one who came up with the idea of calling it the pencil, based on his last name. He loved her ideas, but not as much as he loved her. She was the single most important thing in his life, more important than his dreams. She was the sky. Grey sky. It took a lot of effort to make the pencil sell. Hard work and not giving up were the two ingredients to success, and both Nero and Gray knew this. Once the business started to speed up, Nero came up with a second product. He dedicated it to his loving wife. Gray's maiden name was White. Gray White. The second product was a white pencil. White and pencil stood on the packaging. The packaging was simple, a white box with black title filled with white pencils. They were happy and successful, but there was one thing missing: colour in their lives. They both wanted to have a child and agreed to try. They couldn't have one. The doctors made all kinds of tests, and it was just not happening. They were told to keep trying the natural way, but they should consider also other options. The idea of adoption was acceptable, but their heart was set on having their own baby. They agreed they would keep trying, and when they lose hope, they would adopt. 7 long years later, it happened. Gray got pregnant. They thought this was the happiest moment, but they did not know yet what it means to hear their baby scream and hold his tiny little hands. They didn't care if it was a boy or a girl. They wanted to be a family. They needed that missing piece of a puzzle. Blake was a piece of work. Sleepless nights, poopy diapers, breastfeeding, laughter, tears, circles under eyes, doctor visits, hoping, praying. It all worked out. Blake grew up quicker than they thought. He went from first steps to first beer in the light of speed. This is not a figure of speech. Nero gave him beer way too soon because he wanted to be the cool dad. He was. Blake loved him. As there was a dedication for his wife, Nero wanted to dedicate a product to his only son. He wanted more than that. He wanted him to take over the company once he was ready. Nero taught him everything a dad can teach. Fishing, how to fix stuff, how to build stuff, how to respect women, what is important in life and what is not. He helped him with his homework. He brought him to the office and everybody admired the boy. He looked just like Dad. Nero was thinking long and hard what kind of product would honour his son. He wanted it to be special. He wanted Blake to feel like if he didn't exist, something great would have never happened. He sat down with his team and they came up with all kinds of ideas. However, none of them felt like it. That night, when Nero went home disappointed that he and his team didn't come up with the greatest idea ever, he fell asleep tired and had a dream. He saw white light composed of several colours. This light was bent over Blake's head. He dreamed of a set of pencils which would carry the same colours as he saw in his dream. Nobody had done that before. It's more than special. This was it. When he woke up, he rushed to the office and talked to his team. They started working on the new product, Grey, White, Nero Blake pencil. Rainbow pencils. Once they had a visualization ready, Nero showed it to his family and explained the meaning behind it. Blake started crying as he felt touched by his father's words. It was a moment he would never forget. And they lived happily ever after. Colourful World was written by Emmett Wright. You can find more of his work at www.emmettwrights.com. and was read by Ian Pringle. You can hear more of Ian Pringle at www.ianpringlevoiceover.com. Thank you for listening to Another Story Told, the podcast. We really hope you enjoyed the show, and if you do, then please subscribe because you'll get a new story every week. If, like us, you want to celebrate new authors and narrators, then please share this as far and wide as you possibly can. Maybe you have a story of your own that you'd like to submit. To do that, just look at the show notes and all the information you need is there. Thank you.